Hey, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to this episode of Patriot Strong. I am joined tonight by Derek Johnson. You more than likely have seen the viral video that was on social media. If not, just go catch any one of his lives. You are going to want to see them. Trust me. They are very entertaining, very informative. Derek, thank you so much for hopping on in between tour stops, literally.
My honor to do so.
And you are on the Truth Tour right now. Where are you guys traveling?
We were in Cheyenne, Wyoming 2 days ago. Now we're en route to St. Paul, Minnesota.
Nice. And how many more stops do you guys have before the end of this? I know it's like really quick.
I think it's about 14 left, somewhere in there.
So you guys go to, I think it's truthtour.net if you want to check the schedule and see if they're coming to anywhere close to you. Um, you're not going to want to miss it. I've seen some of the videos, some of the pictures. There's a whole lot of patriots traveling, just sharing all the information. So if you can go out to one of those events, they're amazing. Um, okay, really quick, can we discuss your the viral video? What you kind of spoke about for those who didn't get to see it, and then why it blew up so quick. It's like wildfire.
Oh yes. So I wrote these. I get these things called the documents that I wrote, and it's about six of them. It's four written, and the others are pictures. And I wrote them from my own validity because I saw a lot of stuff in the military that wasn't military law, military bearing. And when I was in the military, it's been 10 years ago. Hard to believe, but so I saw a lot of that. And when I started seeing some stuff in our nation that went against law, period, just law, period, not just military law, which a lot of people don't even know we have our own military law. So when I saw all that, I started putting these together and I started researching, going, okay, now why did I see what I saw, and what was different about this than any other time of presidential history? So I wrote those from my own validity in one way, but then I started telling my mother and people around me that was close to me, I was like, look, man, what's going on is a biblical, monumental, historical covert operation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, you have to understand, you have to be able to understand in the psyop world and then the reverse psychology and the art of war. And I'm like, you got to be able to step outside of any culture zone that you've been in and step outside of it and see this massive big picture. So I started doing that with a buddy of mine, and he was like, man, he's fluent in Hebrew and Hebrew origin of God and Christ. And so I'm like, well, you got to study it like you study that. And he got really confident. He felt confident to go tell some people. This is a long story short, but he felt confident and it backfired on him. And he was like, man, my buddies think I'm crazy now. And I'm like, well, join the crowd, right? Because that's what I've been told by everybody.
Oh yeah.
And because people can't step outside of what they think they see with gas and taxes and inflation, they know something ain't right. So I was like, well, dude, you know something's not right. So why don't you dig deeper? And you got to read them, read them, read them, read them, read them. Research, research, research. It's a lot easier to say read them faster than research. So, and so he did. He goes out, talks to some buddies. It backfires, and I said, well, look, I don't have any storage on my phone. I can't send you a video that long. I said, I'll run up the road. Give me 5 minutes. Let me put some clothes on. Let me go up the road where I get phone service. And I'll go live on Facebook. I said, no one will watch because it's in the middle of the day. No one's going to watch this. And the ones that do will already think I'm crazy. So that's fine. And I'm like, you can share or tag all you want. And that was like Tuesday was like 6 weeks ago. It seems like it's 5 or 6 weeks now. And I didn't know it went viral though till like later the next day, because I was in a place where I was in a cabin in the middle of nowhere already, and I just laid my phone down. Wasn't real priority. And that next morning about 10:30, when I was sitting there drinking my coffee, and I was like, I'm gonna see if I got any messages. And holy crap, my phone was like on 10%, and it was just notification, 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 just boom, 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 boom. But it was nonstop, and it's been that way since then. But so anyway. That's the gist of it.
And where can people find the documents that you're talking about anywhere?
Absolutely, they're on a website. No cost, no charge, no nothing. It's just my service beyond my service. It's called thedocuments.info. The documents plural .info. and then this PDF file. So you just click on I say go in chronological order. That's how I wrote them. It starts from 2016 and moves to present day with all the aircraft pictures of the National Guard in action. But yeah, so it's on PDF, and it's got all my other social media links on there too, because I update different pages. Kind of, True Social, you can't type, but like 90 characters, whatever it is, it's short. And I can't get all my stuff on there. So it shows you all my social links, and you can find a lot of different things that I post on Telegram and Facebook, etc.
Awesome, and I will share that on the screen somewhere. Okay, so because you brought it up kind of before, let's talk about the inauguration, and just if you can dive into that. And I know probably some of my listeners will know like what's in the Constitution as far as when you are legally supposed to be sworn in. Others might not know. So let's just talk about that a little bit, if that's okay.
Yeah. So, this is it's awesome in one way. And I don't make it light of what people are going through right now, because that's the very thing that I feel like God called me to do, is to help people through their mortgages, their rent, these high taxes, high inflation. But if you can just flip that around and realize what you're living through is the most biblical, monumental, historical time in world history to date, then you'll understand what I'm about to say. Because guys like me think it's the most awesome smiling point, the most awesome troll move you could ever do to anybody in a good kind of way.
Yep.
So on January the 20th, 2021, ladies and gentlemen, when you thought you were watching a quote, I always use quotes in inauguration. You weren't. You did, but it was a polar opposite. So I always start with President Trump first, because he's commander in chief right now. He's acting commander in chief. He's not president by title. He's commander in chief. And this will show you what happened. So at Joint Base Andrews on January 20, 2021, President Trump was at Joint Base Andrews. He stepped down as president. He stepped up as commander in chief. But what you witnessed was this. So this is how particular the military is. When you're in the military, when you're walking around in uniform and phone rings, you stop. You can only use one pivot foot, and you can't move. All right, that's the prime example. The other thing you can't do in military is you cannot put your hands in your pocket. Okay, you cannot use your hands in your pocket. So and I tell people, I've had people say, well, that's crazy. And I'm like, well, that's military. It don't matter what you think. That's military. The military don't adapt to you. You adapt to the military. So military, we have our own laws, regulations, ceremonies, drills, etc., that fit the military, not your civilian way of life. So this is why, if you were a veteran sitting there, and if you're a veteran that didn't see this, I question why you served. It don't mean I question your heart, your mind, or your soul, but I question why you served in the military because of these things. That's why it's important. So you're sitting back on January the 20th, you see President Trump walk off on a red carpet rollout. Red carpet is high honor, okay? Then it was Marine One. Also on the fourth ruffle of Hail to the Chief, as it's about to start playing. So bump a bomb, bump a bomb, bump a bomb, bump a bomb. The fourth ruffle, when the band's starting to kick off, not the third, not the second, not the first, on the fourth ruffle, the 21 gun salute is supposed to pop off, as it did on the fourth ruffle. All right. That was also the presidential salute battery that was there with President Trump. The official presidential salute battery, they're known as the 3rd Infantry ID, also known as the Old Guard. They were all regulation uniforms, all of them. Then he gets up on the stage, he does a speech, he never concedes, he never mentions a word Biden, never anything. He also left, he's the first president to leave DC on Air Force One post 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, so all those things are significant. Now let's go over to, before we go there, both Air Force Ones were also present, both of them. All right, so Biden, let's go over to Biden. Biden, first off, this was all pre-recorded, and you can tell if you're an audio guy, if you're a music guy like I am, you can tell the audio feed swapping back and forth, first and foremost, from a live band to a pre-recorded music. Okay, so there was that. But go over to Biden. He didn't get a ride in Air Force One. First time in history. It ain't Trump Force One. It ain't Derek Force One. It ain't Courtney Force One. It's Air Force One. All right. It has nothing to do with who you are and what you are. it's Air Force One. He didn't get a ride in Air Force One. All right. 2, go over to what people thought was the Capitol building, which was all pre-recorded. That's all going to come out. It will. So you go over there, not a single soldier. We ain't talking about a handful of them. We're not talking about 10 of them. Not one single soldier around Joseph Biden that day was in regulation uniforms.
Yeah.
One of them they all have multi-cam uniforms, okay, multi-cam, Kevlar vest on, ACU Kevlar vest, 2 different eras. All right, then one had a gray, a brown looking patch bay and with an insignia that wasn't in the rank. The other had black gloves on with American flags on the gloves. The only American flag that on the United States Army on your shoulder. All right, so those gloves were out of reds. Everything about those uniforms were out of reds. Perfect. The others were too pretty. They weren't worn. They were brand spanking new. Also all jacked up too because they had ACU patterns mixed with multicams. All right, so there's that. Also, the day before the inauguration, during the practice, as they call it, there's a Marine in BDUs. I call out, I love my Marine buddies because they're hardcore. They're always so hardcore. They're always ready to fight you. You just tell them this is untied and they're ready to fight you. Like, they're hardcore, right? So you got these Marines. I'm like, where you at, Marines? This guy's wearing a BDU battle dress uniform. BDU is what it stands for, ladies and gentlemen, battle dress uniform. The Marines ain't worn BDU since 2005. And this is CBS's website. CBS's inauguration website with this picture of a master gunnery sergeant wearing BDUs, practicing with a horn. I mean, it's that blatant and obvious in front of you. Just that alone, which I use, it's funny in one way, but it ain't because I showed my buddy here who died under the same military law and regulations, codes, and the Constitution. So it ain't funny in one way. It's desecration of the uniform in another. But it's also, if we use dark humor in the military, which we do a lot, then it's showing you, hey, they're trolling the you-know-what out of Biden. So there, that alone. All right. Then you move forward into the procession, raise his right hand. He swore in at 11:47 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is a violation of the 20th Amendment of the Constitution, which specifically says the president's term is to begin and end at noon. And they say even more specifically to do it at 12:01 p.m. That way it's an official stamp afternoon. All right. So there was that. Then they leave there. They leave the Capitol building as even though it was Castle Rock Studios, but they leave the Capitol. They go down to the grave of the unknown soldier. Biden never once touched the wreath. If you go back and you look at every single inauguration before then, no matter what your beliefs are, no matter what the person is, remove their names and just watch Clinton, Bush, Obama, and Trump's first one. Biden never touched the wreath. All of them pushed the wreath back. Okay. Mm-hmm. Then the key that gives it all away. See, the one I listened to had a 13-round gunfire, and then you had a lot of people writing in, oh, I heard 21 guns. Well, it don't matter. Here's the deal, ladies and gentlemen. 13 rounds ends up to the British, and then 21 gun salute also has this, which is very, very BS that our people in our history did this. We're talking about the bad people. So 21 gun salute stands for presidents, former presidents, president-elects, heads of government, and reigning monarchy. Why in the hell is reigning monarchy in our republic definition? Why? Okay, so there was a sign there. Then you go back to the Capitol building. I do this backwards for this reason. You go back to President Trump, Obama, Bush, and Clinton inaugurations. Under the American flag on the Capitol building, nothing. Under Biden's was a POW flag. All right, so all these things are showing you optics in the military world that he's a prisoner of war. He's receiving what you're about to find out is this. The other thing right here, 3-piece volley. They call it a 3-volley salute, VOLLEY, 3-volley salute. It's 3 pieces of artillery, 2 for fire and 1 for misfire. That was visual on C-SPAN. That's the only one you can find right now, the full inauguration of Biden, the quote-unquote inauguration. That's the only one you can find. Go watch it. 3-piece volley. 3-volley salute is the official salute for a military funeral service.
Huh.
So, mic drop.
Yeah.
Joe Biden received a full-grade military funeral service.
That's so funny. And we've seen just throughout his time speaking, or like whenever he pretends to speak or whatever, all of the CGI that's being used, like there's that short clip of his hands going through the microphones, and then well, last month with the Marines standing with the red background, I've heard that's like all CGI. There were no actual Marines there, whatever.
Well, another thing too, like, you know, vice president and the senator for all those years is a different guy than the one you're looking at. You need to see an ophthalmologist today.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what time zone you're in, if you got time to get to the doctor, but dadgummit, if you're in California and you got time to call, you need to be calling today, because the guy, he's got his own zip code to his earlobe back here, that the original Joe Biden. You can reach your head in there and talk to ET in that black hole. Like, it's like, and then the actor Joe, his ears are attached. Go to Ancestry DNA. Go to 23andMe. They tell you that we have detached or attached earlobes. It's real simple. And they want to cram science down your throat. Well, there's you some science. Hashtag science up your butt. It's right in front of everybody. I mean, it's almost offensive in one way, because it's people insulting your intelligence in another, because you're like, these dudes are daylight and dark difference from each other.
Yeah.
Like, daylight dark. And it's almost an insult. Open your mouth and go, can you not see these two guys are polar opposite? So anyway, I love it, but I also feel the pain of the people out there of not understanding why it has to be this way. Why did it have to be a controlled operation? But at the same time, we're talking about years and years of corruption that people would never be able to fully grasp if they dumped it all in even just a week's time.
Yeah.
You wouldn't be able to take it all.
And
So
it kind of has to be, or had to be this way, because if Trump got elected, he won. But if it never happened like this, none of this would have been exposed. And I think so much is coming out right now. So many people are able to see really what's going on and how deep and dark the entire world really is. Which leads me, whenever Trump
correct.
was in office, and I know that you've spoken about this before, and I've looked into it, he signed obviously tons of executive orders, but there are two or three that were really prominent and really important. And can you go over that for my audience and kind of explain why they are so relevant with everything that's going on right now?
Yeah, I mean, and two, you can find this in the documents where I broke it down. It's like there's a lot of executive orders that were about infrastructure and the economy and such. So you take that, they're important, but you take those out, and there's a blueprint inside these executive orders that he signed that allowed him to set up the military taking over, what they call a military occupancy, which is found in the Law of War Manual. And I can go ahead and help you skip ahead 700 page 754 to 838, military occupancy. All right. So, but when you go back, he had to do some other things that set that up. All right. So it's really brilliant. I mean, we talk about what is the word for it? Is it brilliant? Is it phenomenal? What is it? It's all of it. So he wrote an executive order called 13848. Inside that order, so on September the 12th, 2018 is when he wrote this, or when he signed it, rather. Now, what I haven't really put emphasis on before, I'd say all this before, the military helped write all this too. This wasn't President Trump. The military, they did a strategy where they went and said, all right, we're going to do this, 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 and this. It's like going in a war room, and they lay out all these things they're going to do, be a law and be an order, which are for the good of the people. All right. And they knew they had to take down this evil system behind the scenes, because there's so many names that American people would never know that were behind what I call behind the scenes, like I'm doing my hands right now. You got these senior executives that you'll never see. They're calling the shots on all these congressmen through the years. All right. So, and so President Trump, this executive order 13848 was September the 12th, 2018. Inside that order, he did two things it's like what they call a catch-22. It's a either or scenario. And it's really brilliant. So he put in there, he said, I declare a national emergency. He declared a national emergency in 2018 in order, but it wasn't supposed to go into effect until 2020, which was brilliant. How did he know to do that if they didn't already know? Because of military intelligence. Okay. So then also in that order, he put in an election fraud committee and how they're going to report to him after that presidential election, which was November 3rd, 2020. So also in there, it talks about the jurisdiction of maritime law and the foreign exchange of goods. So by blocking and prohibiting any foreign exchanges of goods across the United States jurisdiction. And I've had one of the big dudes out there. I had one of these big dudes come out and, it don't say maritime law in there and it don't say November 3rd, 2020. No, it don't say it in hillbilly Alabama bumpkin slang, and I'm from Alabama. I can say that. It's not that ain't how law works. It specifically says United States jurisdiction. A jurisdiction is what? It's a border. Well, what do we have around the United States? We have borders. They call them a maritime border. We have a state maritime. We have a country maritime. All right. What is maritime? Well, you go, oh, well, let's see here. Naval admiralty law is what maritime is. Admiralty. What is admiral? Admiral's a navy. Navy's water. Water. What's the law of water? Maritime law. Okay, so that's where it all ties in. No, it don't say maritime law in the order. It says a jurisdiction where you got to know what they're talking about. Then it also says from this date forward, all elections. Well, that was September 12th, 2018. That meant the November 6th, 2018 election, which was a midterm. And then you had the presidential November 3rd, 2020. Very simple. It does say it in there. It just don't spell it out in Alabama slang. So when you look at that order, it specifically lays out what you just witnessed recently. Biden has extended that order twice. Well, how you tie it in, okay? He declared a national emergency. By law, by federal law, Congress must address a national emergency because it means the president sees a national security threat to the people, and when Congress did not address that, that was a national security breach. He also issued two more verbal national emergencies in 2020. So a total of 3 national emergencies that Congress did not address. Therefore, because they didn't address it under Title 10 United States Code, under the military, you can look up Title 10, and even more specifically, Title 10, Chapter 1209, never been done before in history. The president, he ain't acting as president. Even though the paper says it, he signs it as commander-in-chief. On this 10 U.S. Code, Chapter 1209, it specifically says, as the powers vested in me, as I declared a national emergency on March 13th, 2020, you go read it. I'm not going to read all that, but March 13th, 2020, national emergency in a U.S. code. Donald John Trump's the first president put his name in a U.S. code as he's saying, I'm going to activate the National Guard federal duty. It's called the Federal Reserves. That's all in U.S. code. That's United States law and order. That was stamped way back here. Then he can also verbally issue these things because he's what? He's commander-in-chief of the military. He's not president over the military. He's commander-in-chief over the military. He ain't got to invoke an insurrection act the way people think he does. The dang thing was signed in 1807, but he didn't even have to do the insurrection act because he already had enough evidence of voter fraud and all the other things of national security breaches that on November the 3rd, 4-star General Nakasone tweeted that day. One of his generals tweeted, said, as tens of millions head to the polls today, we have the NSA and the Cyber Command with our teams of partners all around the world watching. Why in the heck do we need teams all around the world watching our elections? Maybe because they already knew something, which is why he signed this order in 2018 for 2020, and the generals tweeting on 2020 about, our partners all around the world watching, as we hopes we learn what we learned from 2018. Well, if they learned something from 2018, guess what they had to have? They had to have evidence before 2018. So it's all like a puzzle. So then you take that, President Trump would have had to sign what they call a Presidential Emergency Action Document, which is called a PED. And inside a PED, only Congress and the president and the generals can know what's inside a PED, nobody else. Well, a PED also has to have what they call a continuation of government, a COG, okay? So in order to act, and the reason why I know it's all true, and I'm not a member of Congress and I'm not a general, but in order to activate all 50 states of the National Guard, which he did on January the 6th and 17th, 2021, which you saw 35,000 plus troops roll into D.C., that was not for a quote-unquote inauguration because they put a fence around the Capitol building. When you go look up 47 United States Code 606, it specifically says the president has power to shut down TV, internet, and also government use of facilities. So use of government facilities. Why did you see a fence the first time in history, a high fence, go around DC with a fence facing inwards, not outwards, inwards like a prison? All these are optics. They were right in front of everybody. You couldn't know if you'd have known what you were reading and what you're looking for. But that's okay. That's why you got guys like me, and I'm not the only one that knows this. But so you have 47 U.S. Code 606. President Trump, all he has to do is command his generals. All he has to do is verbal command. The people don't have to know anything. And the reason why, he said what in 2016 campaign trail? What did he say? He said, never again will we voice to the public what we're doing with our military, because if we voice it to the public, guess who else finds out? The enemy.
Yep.
All right. So, and it's for your protection and safety. And so you ought to try. This is the thing that bothers me the most, and why I came out with my video, is the fact that on Veterans Day, on November 11th, every year, we have people patting us on our shoulders, wanting to buy us meals. But when we go, oh, we want to talk about military law, we're crazy, and this ain't happening. And that's why less than 1% serve in all the armed forces, not just one branch, less than 1% United States population serving all our armed forces. And what's even worse is some of that percentage of the military don't even know what's going on. So that's what we got to get a hold of, and we are. It's all, everybody's watching a delayed process right now. It's all delayed. This is all doesn't happen, and it's just being revealed and revealed and revealed because it was so corrupt. Human trafficking, drug trafficking, sex trafficking, child trafficking. And that's just that alone. Then you have all the Ukraine, all the biochemical labs. When all that comes out, it's already been testified about. People could see it. March the 8th, 2022, Victoria Nuland, Biden's undersecretary who worked for Obama, under oath says, yes, there are biochemical labs in Ukraine.
Yep.
Boom. Mitt Romney's on the other side same day saying there aren't. Isn't that polar opposite? If we go back to the division of the United States, which Republican Democrats was division. Okay, they did that on purpose to bait people together, bait us against each other. But if we just go back to the baiting, it's normally the polar opposite. It's normally Republicans saying there are, and they're Democrats saying there aren't. It was a polar opposite. So what's happening right in front of everybody via these executive orders, acts, and military law, as President Trump did activate the National Guard to federal duty via 10 United States Code, all the codes, and also 47 United States Code 606, also the Stafford Act and the Presidential Emergencies Act, all those together allowed him to extend his power as a president under Article 2 of the Constitution. And that's what you witnessed when you saw those troops move in. And just because they went back to their states don't mean anything. Those orders were not rescinded, because every single day I've tracked aircraft, because I'm an air and missile defense guy. Every single day since January 2021, there's been no less than 300 military aircraft in the skies, out of their states, out of this country, National Guard. So that, and the other thing that prove all that, I've had a few trolls, which are crazy, but they're saying that, and there's some saying, oh, like the National Guard, I'm in the National Guard, this ain't true. Not one single article with Biden. There's not one single article where the National Guard are being deployed somewhere that has the word president or Biden in it. Nowhere. And the other thing, not one time have you ever heard Biden mention Space Force. And just a month ago, just 1 month, it's been a month and a half now. It was a week before my video went viral. The military transfers all communications to the Space Force for one command. That means one guy has the button for everything. One. So it's all right in front of everybody. You just got to go read Law and Order. But that's the general gist. And the reason why, the other thing I always tell people is this, is that with what you're witnessing, because you're not seeing it daily, because you're not a part of the action, doesn't mean it's not there. You got to go read it and put the puzzle together. So, but anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what a lot of people don't really understand, just because it's not going to be on mainstream media, but just because they are not seeing something, they think that nothing is happening when there's so much happening. I know you're not the only one that uses the plane trackers, just to see the air travel information. I know a couple others that do, and it's so interesting just to hear what they have to say. And what's really happening, like you said before, behind the scenes. Just a few more things. What can you tell us about the travel that's going on between here and Gitmo, if anything?
Oh yeah, I mean, so Gitmo, a lot of people, I've had so many people that don't even know what Gitmo is. I'm like Guantanamo Bay, but Guantanamo Bay, well, it is going to be. They got secret courtrooms, right? But it will be to the public in mid 2023. You can go look at you can see it for the first time, and then you got to subscribe to it. But you can Google New York Times Guantanamo Bay, December 29th, 2021, and an article will pop up. New York Times now, not Derek Johnson thinks he knows it all.net, but the New York Times specifically says that there's a secret courtroom that the Army invested in, the military invested in. President Trump has an executive order you can go look up about Guantanamo Bay, and you can go look that up. Then you put them together. There's another article out there where President Trump they spent $500 million for new courtrooms, and it's gonna in his order says tens of thousands of criminals, not thousands, but tens of thousands of criminals. Well, go look at the New York Times, pull it together. New York Times tells you, the people, that military tribunals are coming mid 2023. Well, a lot of us already know a lot of these tribunals are already taking place. And those are kind of, I'm not in the direct of that, so I wouldn't be breaching anything, but I still wouldn't be able to tell if I did. But on the flight trackers, there's an aircraft that leaves South Florida all the time. It's a military aircraft, but it's a VIP aircraft. So it's like a Gulfstream, and it's like a Kingfisher.
You guys, he's traveling. It's fine. Hopefully, we'll get service again soon.
So they're VIP transports, but they're military transports for and those levels, those cabinet. There we go. It did it again. I think if we get over the seal here, it work. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Oh, yeah. So sorry. Well,
Oh, you're
Guantanamo
fine.
Bay too. The thing about Guantanamo Bay too is that all this are everything that every single person watching has been watching has an optic or a code around it. And it was never going to be broadcast for you to know about. You just either had to be reading the right things and listening and think, man, something ain't right, and start digging, or you were never going to know until the end process, right? The end finality, the grandiose finale. So, but go back in this optic.
Oh no, it cut out.
That's been seeing the actor. Can you hear me?
Yeah, it's glitching in and out, but it'll be fine.
Hey. Oh. So the actor, in February and September 2021, just this past year, comes out with these speeches. I'm shutting it down, shutting it down, shutting it down. Ladies and gentlemen, if Biden was president, that means he has the same executive powers that every other president in history has ever had. It ain't got nothing to do with his name and who he is, no matter what. That's where you have to pull your emotions out and go, okay, he would have the same powers every other president. If Congress would shut it down for him, guess what he can do? Executive order, done, over, yeah. Shut it down. Why hadn't he done it? He also strongly opposed the National Defense Authorization Act, which it's on Fox News, CNN. You can go read those articles. Strongly opposes signing this. Why'd he sign it? Okay, so if he's president, he can do whatever he wanted to do via certain, depending on what it was, without Congress. There's certain things he can do without Congress. He ain't done it. He ain't done a single thing. Go look at the baby formula. I brought this up on the show last night. Baby formula. Go look at that article.
Yep.
Baby formula mission. Meanwhile, Biden does this over here. No, that's all. Then the president can shut down TV broadcasts and internet. Guess what he also can do? Control the narrative. All right, and this is a good psyop. This is all for the good, because why? if Congress would have addressed the 3 national emergencies, if Congress would have done their job in 2018 and 2020, then we wouldn't be here, right? Humanity, because President Trump gave evil a military. And we're not talking about just military men. We're talking about men and women generals that are putting their egos aside and putting their lives out for the greater good of humanity. And this was a covert operation all over the world. This ain't just a United States thing. This ain't a Republican Democrat thing. This is a world covert operation. President Trump did 2017 and 2020 peace deals like no other. He was crowned the king in Saudi Arabia. All right. He walked across the line in Korea, never been done before. Even Reagan didn't do that. And he also declared Jerusalem capital of Israel. So there was all these monumental things that happened in front of you. They weren't monumental to put on a resume. This is for a massive operation. And all of our allies, there's so many people doing this. We're rooting out the evil all over the world, and they're flushing out the rats. It's what we call torturing the barn and killing the rats. All right. It's going to be like a reset. I also have the picture of myself. I saved this picture of President Trump and Putin side by side, November the 9th, 2016, 4:56 a.m. All right, Central Standard Time. I got them side by side on Fox News, and it says, Putin says, ready to work with Trump for the reset. Reset was in quotes. Boom. It's right in front of everybody. And it ain't nothing to fear. And it ain't nothing to argue about and get mad at. This is going to help every walk of life, white, black, right? Whatever race you are, whatever nationality you are, whatever sex life you prefer, whatever religion you are, it don't matter. It's going to help everybody as a whole. It's just a humanity thing. It's going to be a giant reset of all this jacked up system we've had for almost 200 years of BS narratives, career politicians patting their pockets for their own livelihoods and forgetting everybody else.
Yeah, absolutely right. It's been a spiritual warfare since the beginning, good versus evil. And people, I think, are slowly waking up and being able to see it. And because you are coming in on the road, you are coming and doing all these shows and doing Facebook Lives every day just to keep everybody up to date what's really going on. It's really, really important. And I appreciate you so much for taking the time really quickly just to come on really fast.
Well, it's my honor, and like I said, I know that I'm forever stamped in history for saying there's only 9 people watching, and then I said it's down to 5. So anyway, so I told my manager when it first started, I'm like, well, it's all about the people, and it don't matter if it's 1 or a million. Look what 5 and 9 people did.
Yeah.
And matter of fact, while we're riding, I got to do a shout out here because I got the guy who made the video go viral driving me right now as we're following our crew. We're in it's what they call the chaser car, and all the bus and everybody's ahead of us. So I'm gonna let him. I'm gonna say it right here. This is Doug, everybody. So
hi, Doug.
So Doug, let me tell you what Doug did. Doug is he's like the king troll. Like Doug follows all liberals. All right, and he went on every liberal page and bombed that video in their page, right? Just kept posting it. And so he called it at 1,000 views, and then before you knew it, I think it was up to about 400,000 views. So, so it's all because of this guy right here.
Go, Doug. You helped awake so many people. Okay.
Yeah, so
my Zoom's about ready to cut out. Again, thank you so much. You're free to come on anytime, and good luck with the rest of the tour.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate it. And hello to all your followers. So we got this.
God bless.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Mike Lindell, and I'm here to tell you about my new product from MyPillow, towels that actually work. Watch this absorbency test. Here's another towel that we randomly went out and bought. Here's one of my towels with the nice design. I don't know if you can see this, but you could line a swimming pool with this. This is crazy. Get rid of it. Towels that actually work.
The new MyPillow towels are exclusively made with 100% USA combed cotton with proprietary technology and with maximum absorbency. They dry you faster and are guaranteed to work.
I'm interrupting this commercial to bring you my BOGO extravaganza. For example, you get one of my Giza Dream bed sheets and you get a second set absolutely free. Or my 6-piece towel sets. Buy one set, get another one absolutely free. Or get my classic premium MyPillow and get another one absolutely free. So call the number on your screen or go to mypillow.com and use your promo code to get my buy one, get one free offers and get deep discounts on all MyPillow products.